So the other day I made a video talking about some ways to help people not live paycheck to paycheck anymore. And considering what's going on in this world, I think a little bit of financial education is exactly what people need. And that's exactly what this channel is geared towards, helping people increase their financial literacy and manage their money. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give this video a like for the YouTube algorithm. Now that you're subscribed and continuing through the video, I'm assuming you want to know what that thing was. And I'm not about to drag this video along to convince you to go watch the other video. So real quick, I'll explain to you what that other video was about and how exactly it ties into this one. So essentially there were only 5 points in that video, and here's what they were. The first thing was you just needed to set a goal so that you were spending your money more purposefully. Next, you needed to have a budget so that you knew what you were spending money on. And the third thing was basically becoming conscious of lifestyle inflation, which is basically when your spending increases with your income. That was just paired with the next point, which was live below your means, which is exactly what it sounds like. The last point was something that you'll need to understand no matter what you do financially, and that's understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. And an asset is anything that adds money to your bank account, and a liability is simply anything that removes money from your bank. In case you wanted to actually watch that video and see how I broke those 5 points down, I'll drop the link to that video in the description below. And also, you should see a little tab appear somewhere in the corner of this video. When it comes to income, it's pretty much an understood concept. You provide a service and then you get paid. Then there's that understood process of how you get income, which pretty much consists of about 20 years of reading, taking tests, doing a lot of homework, and hating math. Then eventually you get a degree, and then you get a high-paying job in your field. Then you work for about 40 years and then retire at the age of 60. And then enjoy your retirement for the next 40 years. And with that, you'd be considered successful. Well, unless you're famous, and then everyone watches you on television trying to keep up with your family. Then most of us look at how much our job actually pays us. And we pay taxes, and that's our life. And then there's that moment where you become financially cognitive, and then your entire perception of life changes. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And that's the idea that a dollar isn't actually worth a dollar, which would mean that our income is relative and not absolute. Let's say someone asks you how much you make a year, and you tell them that you make $250,000. But when you think about it, you don't actually make $250,000, even though that's how much you get paid before taxes. But you never actually see that amount of money. In reality, your bank account doesn't actually grow by $250,000 a year, because you have things like taxes and the cost of living. To break all this down, I'm actually gonna use an example that I use on my friend's 7-year. And yes, I talk to my friend's babies about finances, but I promise I make it fun, like all math is fun. Now, of course, I'm gonna put this on a grander scale and make it more adulty so that people can relate. And I'm not gonna use cookies and $5 bills. So the question that I asked her was, would you rather have a $10 bill or a $5 bill? And the same question would go to you as, would you rather work and make $100,000 a year or work and make $50,000 a year? And assuming that you were a normal person, you would want the $100,000 a year. But then you think about it, well, I still have to adult. So for this example, we'll say the person that makes $100,000 a year is John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Let's say that John works about 50 weeks a year for about 40 hours a week. That means that he makes about $50 an hour. Let's say this high-paying job that he's working is in a place like Seattle. Now, I've never really been to Seattle, but I know that they have a high cost of living. Obviously, the wages would have to be higher to compensate. Now, let's say that John is making $100,000 in a place like Seattle, and the cost of living is about $90,000, including taxes and the actual cost of living. And then you take someone like Sally, who decides that she wants to sell seashells that she found on the seashore on Amazon using the dropshipping program. Now, Sally lives in Bali and makes $50,000 selling seashells on Amazon. For this example, Sally also works 50 weeks a year and about 40 hours a week, which means she only gets a wage of about $25 an hour if this was a typical job. And because the cost of living in Bali is so much cheaper, then Sally only spends $15,000 a year, including all living expenses and taxes. Now Sally has an extra $35,000 that she can do anything with, like buy a bunch of Amazon stocks. And the reason I use this as an example is because when you look at finances and income as an absolute thing, then of course you'll think someone like John makes more money. Opposed to when you look at it as a relative thing and notices that Sally's money is worth more because she has more financial freedom. And ultimately, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And that doesn't mean that you'll never have a business or you're incapable of doing it. Some people just don't want to deal with it. You remember that thing that your parents used to tell you when you were a kid about how if you love what you do, technically it's never work? Which applies here as well, because if you always look for another high-paying job or you're always pursuing income, then you'll always have to work hard to make your money. Opposed to you actually just doing something that you're passionate about and finding ways to fund it. Because ultimately the reason you work for money is to do things that you want to do. So why not do what you want to do and let that make you money? That's why financial literacy is so important, because a lot of people don't even think about this until after they're stuck in the rat race. And that's why now, when people are still stuck at home and 24 million people are unemployed, increasing your financial literacy is more important than ever. Learning how to invest in ways to make your money make you more money so that when you can't actually work, you're still making money is one of the most liberating things about financial freedom. And of course, this channel is geared towards helping you manage your money and increase your financial literacy. So make sure you subscribe and give this video a like if you haven't already. Even though I'm still on my financial journey, one of the things that I thought about every day, no matter how much money I made, was the simple fact that if only I knew this earlier, I would have so much more. And thank you for watching this video. And if you're interested in watching that video about the 5 things to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck, then I'll drop the link to the description below, or you can just click the video here. Until next time, when we come back to help you manage your money.